Morning, everyone, and welcome to your space and your mat. Today, I have pretty much all the animals decided to cluster in my room. So, if you hear a cat fight in the background, just keep breathing through it. We're going to begin today actually in a seated position. So, if you'd like to find a block or anything to help you prop the pelvis up, feel free to do so. You can either sit in a cross-legged position or Virasana, hero's pose, back with your feet behind you. Either way, just coming into a comfortable seat for you. And wherever you're at, just pull the flesh of your seat straight back so that you're resting right up on your sits bones and the space between them, the perineum. And from here, place your hands onto your thighs and just close your eyes here for a moment. Take a few deep conscious breaths in and out through the nose. And on the inhale, think about rolling your shoulders up slightly. And on the exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. Make this more dramatic, rolling the shoulders up. And exhale, rolling the shoulders back. You can move your hands along your thighs as you begin to build this shape. Inhaling, roll the shoulders up. And exhale back. And slowly coming back towards center. Growing the inhale more. As an inhale, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale, simply release the hands down. Really emphasize building on the in-breath, filling the lungs, the rib cage. And exhale, release. And just continue like this, moving with your breath. One more inhale, sweep the arms overhead. And exhale, release your hands behind your back and clasp your hands. Slide your hands over towards your right hip and think about pulling your elbows towards one another, broaden across the chest. Once again, keep the chin slightly tucked and think about filling the space around the chest, the lungs, the rib cage. And just gently pitching your chest forward. Think about breathing into the front of the left shoulder. And if you'd like to increase the stretch, you can take your chin down and across to your right shoulder, breathing into the side of the left neck. And inhale, bring your hands back through center, reach them up towards the sky. And exhale, take the opposite interlace with your fingers and slide the fists over to the left side. Once again, think about drawing the elbows together to deepen the stretch across the chest. Keeping your chin slightly tucked, pitch your chest forward and breathe into the rib cage. Fill the lungs. Filling the space across the right shoulder. And if you'd like to take the chin down and across to the left shoulder, feel free to do so, broadening and finding space all down the right side of the jaw, the neck. On your next inhale, reach the arms back through center, sweep them overhead. And this time release your left hand and stretch up and over. Think about broadening across the lungs, planting down through the right hip crease. Keep stretching with the right fingertips. And if you can, think about pitching the left shoulder forward, right shoulder back, and take a deep breath into the side of the lungs. One more inhale here. And exhale slowly back towards center. Switching sides, inhale, left arm sweeps up and over. Once again, think about planting down into the left hip and stretching all the way through the fingers. Broaden across the chest. Take one more deep breath here. Exhale back to center. Coming off of your block or your seat, we'll slowly make our way into all fours position. If you do have a block, you can keep it handy at the front of your mat. You don't necessarily need one, but it could be fun for a little bit later. So curling the toes under, we're going to sit back onto the heels and even wiggle your other pinky toe underneath of you. So you're really stretching through the bottoms of the feet. On an inhale, stretch your arms overhead. And exhale, sweep your right arm underneath the left, crossing once at the elbows and once at the wrists. On an inhale, begin to tilt the pelvis forward and reach the elbows towards the sky. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, round. Just take a few breaths like this, inhaling to lengthen. And exhale to round. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhale, release the arms, sweep them overhead. If you need to give your toes a little break, now's the time to do so. But if you can, let's try to sit back onto the heels, even though it's a little uncomfortable. Next time, sweep your left arm underneath of the right, crossing once again at the wrists. And on an inhale, begin to tilt the elbows towards the sky as you fill your lungs. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. And exhale, round. Inhale, lift the elbows. And exhale, round. Last time, inhale, lift the elbows. And exhale, round the upper back. And the next, inhale, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, release your hands and pad out your feet. Let's take a moment here. And this time coming into all fours with your toes untucked. Think about rooting and pressing down into the outer pinky edge of the foot. From here, stack your wrists directly below the shoulders. And on an inhale, begin to tilt the pelvis down, reach through the crown of the head. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, round the upper back. Inhale, open the chest. And exhale, round. Inhale. And exhale, round. And one more big inhale, stretch to the crown of the head. And exhale, make your way back through center. Pressing down into the tops of the feet, think about drawing your lower belly in and plugging your lower back towards the ceiling. From here, firmly begin to push down into the hands, pressing into the tops of the feet. We're just going to lift our knees to hover about an inch or so. Weighting the ankles in a slightly opposite position. And we're just going to simply tilt, touch one knee and the other. So inhaling here. Exhale, tap the right knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, tap the left. Inhale. Tap the right. And you can just move here with your breath, switching on and off. And one more on each side. And exhale, release all the way to the mat. Curling the toes under. We'll walk the hands forward slightly and press up and back to downward facing dog. At the beginning of your practice, we'll keep a nice bend into the knees. And just think about spreading and widening the seat up and back towards the sky. You can take a few moments here to kind of take your dog for a walk. Find any movement in the outer hips. And as you're ready to come back towards center, once again, we'll take a deep bend into the knees. Plant into the L shape of the hands, the index finger and the thumb side. Think about wrapping the armpits in towards the ears and take a deep breath into the space between the shoulder blades. Keeping the deep bend into the knees, think about sending the heels towards the ground. Finding a nice opening across the hamstrings and the calves. And on an inhale, begin to shift forward into plank position. Pausing here, actively push the mat away and press back into your heels. Think about lifting your chin and looking forward slightly. And we'll just pause here for a moment. On your next exhale, release your left knee to the mat and spin onto your right heel. Inhale, sweep your right fingertips towards the sky. Think about broadening across the chest and actively push into the outer pinky toe. Take another inhale to open the chest, squeeze the left glute, and exhale, release the right hand. And we'll move back to plank position. Inhale here. Exhale, release the right knee and spin onto the left heel. Inhale, sweep the left arm high to the sky. Once again, squeeze the glutes, press the pelvis forward, and open across the chest. And just breathe here. One more big inhale to open the chest. And exhale, release the hands, plank position. Inhale, roll forward onto the toes. Exhale to the knees, and then to the belly. Pointing the toes, think about pulling the inner thighs towards one another. And extend your arms by your side here for a moment. On your next inhale, tuck your chin slightly towards the chest and slowly begin to lift your feet and then your arms. Turning Shavasana, think about pulling the crown of the head forward rather than the front of the chin. Squeeze the inner thighs together as you reach your heels towards the sky. Flip your palms towards the sky, engaging the triceps. We're just going to pulse the arms here. We're going to take the arms up and back, up and, up and in, back and down, up, in, back, down, up, in, back, down. Just take a few more rounds, squeezing the triceps. One more, up, in, back, down, and release all the way to the mat. You can slide the palms of your hands alongside your lower rib cage and tuck the toes under. Think about squeezing the elbows towards one another. Engage your core, so draw the pubic bone towards your face. Find length in the lower back. From here, engaging your core, begin to press yourself up through the knees. And once again, to downward facing dog. We'll just take a few moments here, letting the breath travel in and out through the nose. On your next inhale, bend the knees, look forward. And exhale, step or walk to the top of the mat. Taking your feet about hips distance apart, take a deep bend into the knees and just fold forward. Shaking your head no, nodding it yes. Bending into your knees. And next inhale, halfway lift, bring your fingertips to your shin, look forward. Exhale, fold forward. Bringing your left fingertips to the center of the mat, take a bend into the left knee. Inhale, sweep the right fingertips towards the sky. And exhale, back to center. Bending the right knee, inhale, sweep the left fingertips. And exhale to center. And just moving with your breath, inhaling. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more on each side. Inhale, breathing into the right side. Exhale to center. And inhale, breathe into the left side. And exhale. This time, inhale, halfway lift, find a long neutral spine. And exhale to fold in. Inhale, squeeze the glutes, push all the way to stand, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale, lower your hands down. Moving into chair pose. We're going to sink down, bring our hips down and back. So pause here for a moment and really weight back into the heels. On an inhale, sweep your arms overhead and find length through the spine. We're going to bring some movement to this. As we exhale, we're going to release our arms and roll forward onto the toes, broadening across the chest. Squeeze the triceps up and in towards one another, like you're pulling a block behind your seat. Inhale, release the heels, reach the arms overhead. And exhale, coming onto the toes, squeeze the triceps. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale, stretch. And exhale, fold in. Inhale, halfway lift. And on an exhale, we're simply going to plant the hands and step the right foot all the way back, coming into a low lunge. Once again, snuggle the left arm or the left knee into the left armpit and think about pitching the chest forward. Spin the top of the right thigh towards the mat and squeeze the right glute. On an inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Think about sending the right hip forward, left hip back. Squeeze the imaginary block overhead. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, bring the hands to the mat and step to downward facing dog. On an inhale, shift forward into plank position. And exhale, lower to your belly. Inhale, baby cobra, pull the elbows back towards one another. And exhale, press up and back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, bend the knees and look forward. And exhale, step or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold in. Inhale, push all the way to stand. And exhale, release your hands down. This time we can try the series of the balls, the big toes touching and the heels slightly apart, so our feet are closer together. From here, we're going to sink the hips down and back, weighting the heels. And on an inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, roll forward onto the toes, squeeze the inner thighs, broaden the chest. Inhale, sink down and back. And exhale, rolling forward. Inhale. Last time, exhale, roll forward. Inhale, stretch the spine. And exhale to fold in. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the crown of the head. And exhale, plant the hands and step the left foot back, coming into a low lunge. Once again, if you'd like to walk the right foot out slightly, think about snuggling it into the right armpit. Spin the top of the left thigh down and squeeze the glutes. On an inhale, begin to sweep the arms overhead, coming up into a high lunge. Opening through the front body, imagine squeezing the imaginary block overhead. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, plant the hands, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward into plank position. And this time as you exhale, bend the elbows 90 degrees, moving through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And breathing here. And your next inhale, bend the knees, look forward. And exhale, step or walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold in. Inhale, press all the way to stands. And exhale, release the hands down. This time bringing your big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. We're going to sink the hips down and back, finding Utkatasana chair pose once again. Inhale here. Exhale onto the toes, squeeze the biceps back. Inhale, move forward. Exhale to the toes. Last time, inhale. And exhale, toes. Inhale. And exhale, bring your hands through heart center, stay seated. Weighting your left thigh, think about kicking yourself in the right glute. Slowly begin to step all the way back, finding a high lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Take a deep breath in, open the front of the chest. And exhale, spin the back heel down. Ooh, warrior two. As you're here, think about squeezing your heels towards one another while simultaneously pressing into the outer edge of the back foot. Look down at your front knee and make sure that your knee is tracking right over your second biggest toe. From here, draw the shoulder blades down the back. Take a deep inhale. And exhale to pause. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach high. And taking this in a dynamic form, exhale, warrior two. A few more rounds like this. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more big breath, reach high. This time, keep your front leg extended and reach around, grabbing opposite arms, or rather opposite wrists. So what we're gonna do here is there's a few options with the hands. The easiest is to interlace behind the back and think about pushing the fists down and back. Another option is to simply bring your arms behind you and think about squeezing the arms together. Or you can take this interlace and pull the tips of the elbows down and back. So, wherever you would like. From here, we're gonna think about taking this left hip crease and pulling it down and back towards the right heel. As we do this, we're gonna use the core to twist the shoulders to face your computer or the long edge of the mat. From here, we're going to begin to lead with the left shoulder as we fold forward, finding a nice little twist. And we're just gonna pause here, thinking about dragging our heels towards one another, reaching through the crown of the head, and finding a long neutral spine. Think about pulling or pushing the left shoulder forward, right shoulder back, engaging your lower obliques right here. On your next inhale, pushing into your back leg, slowly come back towards center. And this time, find an interlace behind your back. Take a deep bend into the left knee. Push your hands down, take an inhale, reach through the chest. And exhale, find humble warrior, fold over the knee as you reach your fist towards the sky. Letting your head dangle. Breathing into the heads of the shoulders. And let your inhale reach you back through center. Keep your knee bent. And release your arms, warrior two. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, release your hands to the mat. And step back to plank position. Pausing here for a moment, getting firm in your shape. And then inhale, shift forward onto the toes. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing. Pausing here for a moment, taking a deep breath in and out. On your next inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. And exhale, slowly step or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold in. Inhale, push all the way to stand, sweep your arms overhead. And exhale, release the hands down. Moving on to the second side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, sink down and back, Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale, roll forward onto the toes, draw the elbows back. And exhale, heels down. Inhale to rock forward. And exhale, heels down. One more time, inhale. And exhale, release the heels. Inhale, chair pose, stretch. And exhale, bring your hands through heart center. This time, weighting down through your right leg. Lift your left heel and think about kicking yourself in this seat. Slowly begin to step the left foot all the way back, coming into a high lunge. Inhale here. And exhale, spin the back heel down, warrior two. Pausing for a moment, find your stance. If you're up here, really trust your front leg to support you down here. Think about bringing this front thigh parallel to the mat and squeezing your shoulder blades down the back. Bringing some dynamics. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms. And exhale, warrior two. Emphasis on building the inhale. Inhale. And exhale, warrior two. One more time, inhale. Exhale, bend into the front knee. And this time, inhale, straighten and pause. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back. Again, we're either interlacing, grabbing opposite elbows, or squeezing our arms behind the back. Wherever you're at, think about pulling this the right hip crease down and back. As you begin to fold forward, lead with the right shoulder, and think about twisting your torso so that your pelvis is facing the same direction. And you'll find that my hamstrings are really tight, so I stop right about here. But go as deep as you would like without side bending. So we're trying to keep a long neutral spine, no arching in the spine. Think about leading through the crown of the head and with the right head of the shoulder. Actively push into the ball of the right big toe. And think about shining the right inner thigh towards the long edge of the mat. And just take a few deep breaths here. And pressing into your back foot, slowly come back through center. Interlace your hands behind your back the opposite direction and take a deep bend into the front knee. Pressing your fists down, inhale, open the chest. And exhale, humble warrior, fold forward over your thighs. You reach your arms towards the sky. Allowing your head to go limp. Let the inhale slowly bring you back. Keep a deep bend in the knee. And release the hands, warrior two. Inhale, flip the front palm, reverse your warrior. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, windmill your hands to the mat. And step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward into plank position. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. And exhale, slide your right knee behind your wrist. Crossing the shin, we're gonna move into half pigeon. Walk your left toes back. If you'd like to slide a block underneath your pelvis or blankets for support, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're going to point the back toes and press firmly into the pinky toe of the back foot and the pinky toe of the front foot. From here, engage your back third muscles about 50%. Draw the lower belly in, lengthen through the crown of the head. And keeping this engagement, begin to fold forward, either staying up on the hands or coming down to the forearms. Just breathing into the pelvic bowl. Keeping the engagement in the toes and belly and the pelvis. And slowly, as you're ready, begin to come up onto the hands. Curling the back toes under. We'll press up and back to downward facing dog. Wiggling the hips out, shaking the ankle if you need to. And then in your time, we'll stretch the left heel up and back. And exhale, step, or rather slide the left knee behind the wrist. Moving once again into half pigeon pose. Walk the right toes back. Point the back toe and push into the pinky toe of both feet. From here, come high onto the fingertips, engage the pelvic floor muscles. Take a deep breath in. And as you're ready, exhale, begin to walk the hands forward as much as you'd like. Whatever you're doing in this pose, avoid just collapsing in the pelvis. Really think about holding up on the bathroom muscles and lower belly. Actively push into both pinky toes to support our joints. And send some breaths deep into the belly. As you're ready, begin to walk up onto the hands. And we'll simply slide off onto the left hip and sweep our legs out in front of us. Taking a bend in the knees, we'll scoot the seat forward slightly and bring the hands just behind the shoulders so the fingertips point towards the toes. Pushing down into the soles of the feet. On an inhale, we're going to squeeze the glutes and think about lifting the pelvis up. You might need to adjust your stance. Breathing across the front of the shoulders. Try to pull the pelvis up into a tabletop position and pause here. Breathing in and out through the front of the shoulders. You can release your head back if you wish. Engaging the glutes. One more big inhale here. And exhale, slowly release the seat towards the mat. Moving into our staff pose. It's the beginning of all the seated postures. Bending the knees slightly. We're going to pull the flesh of the seat straight back. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead and think about pulling the lower belly muscles in. Inhale here. And exhale, begin to fold forward, either grabbing onto the backs of the calves or maybe the toes. Just making sure that you're trying to match your lower belly with the upper thighs before we start to round in the upper back. Wherever you're at, think about breathing into the backs of the hamstrings, maybe flexing the ankles, bringing the toes back towards the face, noticing how that alters the stretch. And just staying here, breathing for a moment. Inhale, lengthen through the front of the spine. And exhale brings you back towards center. Bending the knees, scooch the seat towards the front of the mat, and slowly we'll roll down towards our backs. Once you're down onto your back, we'll keep our left foot planted and draw the right knee towards you. We're going to take half happy baby, so with the right hand, grab onto the outer edge of the right foot. The goal is to keep the head, neck, and shoulders and pelvis all on the mat. So from here, you can either work just right here, or you can begin to kick the sole of the foot towards the sky and out. And just take a few breaths, really opening into the inner groin muscle. Maybe working on extending or drawing circles with the legs. Just taking whatever variation of this feels good on your body. One more big inhale here. And exhale, release the foot to the mat. And this time, draw the left thigh in. Once again, take your hand and grab onto the outer edge of the left foot. So the arm goes to the inner thigh, but the hand grabs onto the outer foot. And as you're ready, begin to extend the sole of the foot towards the sky, making circles, swaying a little side to side. If this feels really inaccessible to you, you can always opt to just grab onto the back of the hamstring and lift the sole of the foot towards the sky. So wherever you're at, just working into this hip muscle, finding whatever feels good. One more big inhale here. And exhale, release the grip on the left foot and release it to the mat. From here, stack your right thigh on top of the left and pull your knees in towards your chest, grabbing behind the hamstrings. And gently tuck the chin and just find a few deep breaths into the belly. Allowing the shoulders to fall, breathing into the outer hips. Slowly releasing the left foot to the mat. You can let the knees fall towards the left, finding a gentle supine twist with crossed legs, or you can uncross them. And extending the arms like a T, find a few breaths across the front of the shoulder. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades. Just finding openness down the right side of the body. And on your next inhale, coming back towards center. Releasing the cross of your legs. And cross the left thigh over the right. And hug the knees towards your chest and releasing your hands behind the hamstrings. And once again, tucking the chin, breathing deeply into the belly, creating space in the outer hips. slowly release your right foot to the mat and let both knees fall over towards the right side, extending your arms like a T, finding a nice supine twist. Breathing in and out through the nose, filling the chest, the space between the shoulder blades. And with an inhale, slowly bring yourself back through center. Give yourself one final hug. Take any other postures that you deem necessary for your practice this morning. And eventually we'll make our way towards Shavasana, our final resting posture. Spreading your feet about mat distance apart. Give your hips a nice wiggle side to side. Shake out the soles of the feet. And tuck your shoulder blades underneath of you and tuck your chin towards your chest. Your hands can rest palms face down on the belly or out by your sides. And just take a few deep, soothing and nurturing breaths. Settle the heart rate and come back onto the mat. With every inhale, think about breathing in something about this practice you'd like to take with you into your day. And on an exhale, allow the body to just begin to melt into the mat. Letting the hips become heavy, the shoulders are soft, the base of the skull is heavy onto the mat. And just begin to soften the spaces between the eyebrows and the lips. And letting the tongue fall to the back of the throat. And just everything begins to soften and become heavy. Allowing your mind and your thoughts to soften. And also inviting a sense of softness in case they haven't. Reminding yourself that we're just human. This is our practice. Eventually becoming so still that the lips begin to buzz a little bit. And the backs of the hands are soft. The palms of the hands, the soles of the feet. To leave you here in Shavasana so that you can take as much or as little time as you need, as you'd like to this morning or evening. I'd encourage you to stay here for a solid 5 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day and namaste.